Hello everyone, welcome back to the Ancient Wisdom channel. Today we will talk about an interesting topic: the most common stupid things in life. These are mistakes that many people have probably made, and more importantly, each of us can learn valuable lessons from them. Think about it. Have you ever done something that you later blamed yourself for? How could you be so stupid? Or when you see someone make a mistake, you just sigh, if only they were more alert. How could this happen? The ancients once said, "A wise person is not necessarily free from mistakes, but a fool often makes the same mistake over and over again." In life, there are foolish things that sound simple, but have great consequences, even leading to the loss of money, health, and happiness. In today's video, I will share with you the 10 most common foolish things. Not to judge anyone, but so that we can look back, learn lessons, and know how to avoid similar mistakes. The profound lessons from these stupid things will make you surprised, because perhaps all of us have made them at least once. Stay and watch until the end of the video, because who knows, you might find a way to change and improve your life from these seemingly trivial things. Let's go through each lesson in the list of 10 most common stupid things in life. And don't forget, if you find the content useful, please like, share, and subscribe to the Philosophy of Life channel, because today's small philosophies will bring great value tomorrow. Now let's get started. 1. Lending money to gamblers. We start with the first stupid thing: lending money to gamblers. It sounds simple, but this is a mistake that many people make. When we see a relative or friend in debt due to gambling, we often feel pity. We think that they need money to rebuild their lives, and we are the life buoy to save them. But what is the reality? You are not saving them, but turning yourself into a debtor of your own blind compassion. Gamblers live in a cycle of promises, apologies, and unrealistic dreams of getting it all back. But you know what? The money you give them is never enough. Today, you lend them 10 million. Tomorrow they will come back and ask for 20 million, because gambling has no end. And then, instead of helping them out of the quagmire, you accidentally push yourself into it. Just think, when you give your hard-earned money to someone who doesn't appreciate it, what will happen? Not only will you lose money, but your relationship will also be lost. From being a friend or relative, you will become their emotional debtor, always asking for it back, but will only receive empty promises or even resentment. Helping people is good, but you have to know how to help them properly. If you want a gambler to get his life, as the saying goes, you can't save someone who doesn't want to save themselves. Don't let blind pity turn you into a second victim of gambling. 2. Paying for a friend to do it. Next, we come to the second stupidity: paying for a friend to do it. This is one of the common mistakes, especially for those who want to save money and help their acquaintances. Unfortunately, most of these stories end in disappointment, frustration, and even emotional excitement, thinking that it would be cheaper to do it with someone you know, and it would be easier to talk to if there was a problem. At first, everything seemed reasonable, but when the quality of the work was not as expected, the time was delayed, or even additional costs arose, you wanted to complain but were afraid. Afraid because you were afraid of offending the other person. Afraid because it was someone you knew. And so, you have to swallow your anger, not to mention, if the relationship is not handled skillfully, both sides will easily fall into a situation of blaming each other, even getting angry to the point of not seeing each other. As the old saying goes, money is clear, love is decisive. That is, whether it is friends or relatives, when it comes to money and work, you need to be clear from the beginning. The work must be professional. The responsibilities must be clear. Otherwise, the final consequence is that both sides will lose money, lose time, and lose feelings. If you want the work to be completed as expected, choose someone with expertise and experience, regardless of whether they know you or not. If you want to help someone you know, help them in other ways, such as introducing them to a job or supporting them when they are in trouble. Never confuse work with love, because favoritism is a double-edged sword. Don't let your kindness or favoritism become a trap that makes you swallow the bitter fruit. What do you think about this? Have you ever been in a dilemma when hiring someone you know? Share your story in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. This is a stupid thing that sounds simple, but its consequences are not simple at all. We often think that investing in business with relatives and friends is safe, because blood brothers have no worries about offending each other, and best friends of many years do not get along well with each other. But you know, these close relationships are often the source of the most bitter conflicts. Imagine this. When a project succeeds, you are faced with the question of who contributed more, who deserves more. Everything seems clear, but even a small disagreement can cause people to be dissatisfied and jealous of each other. And if the project fails, then what? Blame is almost certain to follow. The love between brothers and friends will gradually disappear, leaving only debts or harsh words. The old saying goes that if you love each other very much, you will feel pain in each other. No matter how good the relationship is, when it comes to money, everything will become much more complicated. Investing without transparency and clear regulations can easily lead to failure and loss of both money and property. If you plan to invest in a business, make sure everything is clearly and transparently recorded from the beginning. Have a specific contract with clear division of responsibilities and benefits. Don't let emotions get in the way of these important things, because when trouble comes, emotions won't save you. And remember, sometimes working alone can be much simpler and more effective. Always be careful when deciding to join a business, especially with friends or family. Money is something that can change people. Don't let good expectations turn into disappointment. 4. Selling land to deposit money in the bank. Let's come to the fourth stupidity. Selling land to deposit money in the bank. This is a mistake that many people have made, stemming from the desire for safety and convenience. But sometimes, this short-term safety makes you pay a very high price in the long run. Imagine, you have a 3,000 square meter plot of land. You think, sell it for a large sum of money, then deposit it in the bank. Receive monthly dividends to spend. Sounds very reasonable, right? But the story is not that simple. Land prices always increase over time, while bank interest rates are low and never keep up with the rate of inflation. After 3 years, when you withdraw all the principal and interest, you discover that the amount is not enough to buy back 300 square meters of land, let alone the original 3,000 square meters. You have lost the opportunity to own a property that is constantly increasing in value just because you want to earn a small amount of interest for immediate consumption. So what happened? You have traded a large asset with stable growth in value for the convenience of banking. You think you are keeping your money safe, but in reality, that money is silently losing value every day. And then, when you look back, what you have lost is not only land, but also the opportunity to preserve and increase your assets. The ancients used to advise that land is for saving, money is just fleeting. The point here is clear. Land is not just an asset, it is a source of long-term livelihood. Selling land to save cash only robs you of both your future and the value of your asset. Think carefully before selling land, especially if you are selling just to put the money in the bank. The interest on the deposit only brings a small benefit, but the land price can increase many times in the same period. If you do not need a large sum of money immediately, it is best to hold on to the land, because once sold, you may never be able to buy it back. Be a teacher to the solver. Next, we come to the fifth stupidity. Be a teacher to the solver. This is an expensive lesson that many people have experienced. It may sound unfortunate, but the truth is that not everyone is worth your time, effort, and dedication to teach. Think about it. Have you ever tried to help someone? You think that if you teach them with all your heart, they will become wiser, know how to correct their mistakes, know how to change. But then, you realize that all you did was like water off a duck's back. Not only do people not learn anything from you, but they even drag you into trouble, making you an accomplice in their stupid decisions. As the old saying goes, it is better to be a servant to a wise man than a teacher to a wise man. This saying is profound. A wise man, even if he is a servant, can still learn good things. But a solver, even if you are his teacher, will only bring trouble and disappointment. Why? Because the solver does not want to learn, does not accept challenges, and often thinks he is right. Not only do they waste your time, they also cause you a lot of trouble. When you want to help someone, consider carefully whether they really want to change. If they are not willing to learn, all your efforts are in vain. Don't become a teacher to the poor, because the end result is that you will only make yourself suffer. Helping is good, but you need to choose the right person. The ancients also taught that saving someone who doesn't want to save himself is like running headlong into a rock. Give your heart to those who deserve it, those who know how to appreciate, listen, and have the will to change. 6. Working for an unethical boss. Now, we will come to the sixth stupidity. Working for an unethical boss. This is a practical lesson that many people have experienced, and the consequences do not stop at material loss, but also seriously affect your own honor and value. Just think, when you work for an unethical boss, what will happen? At first, you may think that you are just an employee. You just work to earn money. Whatever they say, you do. There is no influence. But in reality, that is not the case. Working for an unethical person, you inadvertently become a tool to assist in their wrongdoings. This type of boss puts profit above all else, regardless of right or wrong. They may ask you to do things that go against your conscience, even breaking the law. And when things go wrong, who will be the first to blame? They will most likely try to blame you to protect themselves. As the old saying goes, if you are near ink, you will be black. If you are near black, you will be bright. Working with an unethical boss is like dipping yourself in a vat of ink. No matter how good you try to be at your job, your reputation and worth are affected by what others do. Don't choose a job based on the salary or the convenience. Think carefully about where you work and who you work with. A good boss will not only pay you, but also help you develop and live up to your values and principles. On the contrary, an unethical boss will only make you lose your conscience and trade your honor for money. If you are working in an environment that you feel is not right, do not be afraid to change. Remember, money can be earned again, but self-worth and conscience cannot be exchanged. 7. Marrying without love. Next, we come to the seventh stupidity. Marrying without love. This is probably one of the most serious mistakes a person can make, because marriage is not a short-term contract, but a lifelong commitment. Without love as a foundation, married life will be nothing more than an emotional prison. Have you ever heard someone say, well, get married for stability, love later? Or in cases where family pressure or society pressure, but when you are of age, just get married, then slowly cultivate your feelings later. It sounds easy to accept, but in reality, marriage without love often leads to days of fatigue, boredom, and regret. When you live with someone whose heart is not moved, every little problem in life can become a burden. There is no understanding and sympathy, no shared joy, and gradually the marriage becomes just an empty shell. If you are lucky, you will escape it through divorce. But if not, You may have to live a life of misery, while still having to appear happy in front of others. The ancients used to say, choosing a wife and husband is like casting a bell and cocooning gold. Marriage is not only a bond between two people, but also a harmony of souls, personalities, and ideals. Without love, all these things become meaningless. Get married for love, not because of pressure from family or society. Marriage is not something you do to please others, but to find true happiness for yourself. Don't think that you will fall in love after marriage, because if love doesn't come from the heart, it won't come naturally after marriage. If you feel you're not ready, be brave enough to say no. If you haven't found the right person, be patient. Life is too short to live with someone you don't love, and even shorter to live without happiness. 8. Sending money to someone else to buy land without having your name on it. Let's come to the 8th stupidity. Sending money to someone else to buy land without having your name on it. This is a seemingly small mistake, but its consequences can be much bigger than you imagine. Imagine, you have a small amount of money, but because it is inconvenient to put your name on it, or because you trust your relatives and friends too much, you decide to send them money to buy land for use. You think, this is a familiar place, nothing to worry about. Besides, this land is not worth much, and everything seems fine until the land price skyrockets. Land that seems worthless can increase many times in a few years, and that is when human greed starts to rise. The person who holds the money to buy the land for you can say that this money is mine, or even refuse to return the ownership, turning you from an investor into a penniless person. As the old saying goes, deep rivers and deep seas are easy to fathom. Who can measure the human heart? The idea is to remind that greed is one of the greatest challenges of human beings. When assets increase, very few people can maintain their original morality and affection. Never entrust money to others to buy land without clear legal guarantees. Whether it is a sibling, a close friend, or someone you trust completely, always remember that money and assets must be transparent. If you need someone to be the person in charge, make sure to have full and clear paperwork to protect your rights. Remember, assets are not just money, but also your trust and relationships. A mistake in this not only makes you lose your property, but also the feelings of the person you once trusted. 9. Living without integrity. We continue with the 9th stupidity. Living without integrity. This is a mistake that is not only common, but also has a great impact on each person's life. Because when you don't have your own opinions, your life will be like a boat floating in the water. Wherever someone pushes you, you will go there, never reaching your destination. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who always asks for everyone's opinion before making a decision, but in the end they can't do anything? Or have you ever been in a situation where you listened to everyone, and in the end, you didn't know what to do? As the old saying goes, if you don't plow in the middle of the road, 100 people will have 100 opinions. When you don't have your own opinion, you listen to whatever people say, do whatever people tell you, then you will never achieve what you want. Instead of deciding your own path, you let others direct your life. And when you fail, the only thing you get is regret. So what causes a lack of assertiveness? Often, it comes from a fear of judgment or a desire to please everyone. But guess what? You can't please everyone in this world. And the more you try, the more you hurt yourself. Remember, it's your life. You're responsible for yourself, whether you're right or wrong. Instead of being afraid of making mistakes, focus on developing independent thinking and building your own personal perspective. Don't let the voices of others overshadow your own. Another thing, when you have a stance, you not only make yourself stronger, but also gain respect from those around you. A person with a stance is not someone who is always right, but someone who is confident in the path he has chosen. 10. Living stingily. And finally, we come to the 10th stupidity: living stingily. This is a mistake that many people do not realize until it is too late, because they think that being overly frugal and tightening their belts is the right way to live. But have you ever wondered? Saving for the future is right, but is it worth living so frugally that you don't dare to enjoy your current life? Imagine, there are people who don't eat, don't wear clothes, don't dare to spend anything, just because they are afraid of losing their savings. They always think that saving a lot of money for old age will make them feel more secure. But you know, there are many people who don't get old. They die, or when they get old, their health is exhausted. They don't have enough strength to enjoy the money they work so hard to save. The ancients once said, "Life is limited. A mountain of money is useless if you don't know how to live." This saying reminds us that money is just a tool to serve life, not the ultimate goal. You spend your whole life saving, but if you don't know how to use it properly, no matter how much money you have, you will never be happy. Saving is right, but there must be a balance between saving and enjoying. Spend on things that bring joy, health, and happiness. Don't make your life a series of miserable days just because of the fear of spending. Remember, time waits for no one, and health is a priceless asset that money can never buy. This story is not only a reminder, but also an encouragement for you to live life to the fullest in the present. Cherish every moment, because that is something that money cannot buy. Conclusion. So we've just gone through the 10 most common stupidities in life. The mistakes sound very simple, but leave behind profound lessons and many regrets. The important thing I want you to remember is that none of us are perfect, and everyone can make mistakes. But what makes the difference is not whether you never make mistakes, but whether you recognize and learn from them. As the old saying goes, one mistake is a lesson, 2 mistakes are stupid. Use these lessons as a mirror to reflect on yourself, to remind yourself to live more wisely, to avoid unnecessary mistakes. And don't forget, if you find this content useful, please like, share, and subscribe to the Philosophy of Life channel so we can spread these values to more people. At the same time, please leave your comments and stories in the comments section, because who knows, your story may be a valuable lesson for others. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully, each lesson today will help you avoid the foolishness that those who came before you have experienced. Live a life that is not only wise, but also full of happiness. See you again in the next videos of Ancient Wisdom. Wish you a peaceful and meaningful day.